Walter thought his breakfast was healthy: toast, orange juice, maybe a muffin. But at 68, his legs felt weaker, and everyday tasks got harder. The truth? His breakfast was quietly draining his muscle strength. And he's not alone. Millions over 60 are eating the wrong kind of healthy every morning. The fix isn't hard, and today, I'll show you how to turn your breakfast into your best defense. Quick question before we start: what's one breakfast food you just can't quit? Tell me in the comments. And now, it's time for the intro. 3, 2, 1. This morning, I had a short walk with my neighbor, Harold. He's 74, retired school principal, and one of the most disciplined men I know. Rain or shine, he's out the door at 6:30, walking his golden retriever, Daisy. Today, as we reached the bend near Maple Street, he paused, pressed one hand to his hip, and let out a quiet sigh. "You know, Doc," he said, "I've been doing everything right, walking, stretching, even cutting down on sweets. But I still feel weak getting out of a chair. Like my legs don't want to listen anymore." That stuck with me. Because Harold isn't alone. I've heard that same concern, some version of it, from dozens of patients over the years. "I'm losing muscle," they'll say. "But I haven't changed anything." And that's precisely the problem. You see, as we get older, especially past 60, our bodies don't respond to food the way they used to. What once fueled us now might not be enough. Or worse, it might even be setting us back. Breakfast, the meal we've been told is the most important of the day, is often where the quiet damage begins. Maybe it's the orange juice you drink every morning. Or that slice of toast with jam. Or maybe, like Harold, you've kept the same breakfast routine for 30 years because it worked back then. But now, your body has changed. Your muscle needs have changed. And what your breakfast does for your muscles has probably changed too. In this video, I want to take you through something I wish I could sit down and share with every patient who's ever asked me why they're getting weaker even though nothing's changed. We'll look at 7 common breakfast habits that may be quietly working against your muscles, and more importantly, I'll show you how to build them back, meal by meal, without fad diets, pills, or complicated regimens. Whether you're 62 or 82, whether you're walking fine or using a cane, this video is for you. You don't have to become a bodybuilder. But you can rebuild strength, support your balance, and keep doing the things that matter: gardening, walking the dog, playing with your grandkids, if you just know how to feed your muscles right from the moment your day starts. So stick with me. This isn't about guilt or fear. It's about clarity and hope. I'll walk you through the breakfast mistakes I've seen the most, the small but powerful corrections, and real stories from people who turn things around, not at the gym, but at the kitchen table. Let's pick up right where we left off, with Harold, standing by the old oak tree on Maple Street, quietly wondering why his legs won't support him the way they used to. When we got back to his porch, I asked him to walk me through his morning. "It's the same as always," he said. "Cup of orange juice, 2 slices of toast, a little strawberry jam. Sometimes I skip the toast and just have a muffin on the way to the park." That right there, that's the first mistake we'll talk about. 1. The sugary start: fruit juice and toast. Orange juice sounds healthy, doesn't it? It's got fruit in the name. But 1 glass of packaged orange juice can pack more sugar than a can of soda. Combine that with toast made from white bread, stripped of fiber and protein, and you've got a sugar rush followed by a crash. For muscles, that means no real fuel. Instead of amino acids or complex carbs to help rebuild strength, all you get is a blood sugar spike that vanishes just as quickly. This is what I call a false energy breakfast. It wakes you up for an hour, then lets you down fast. Harold, like many others, had no idea. He thought he was doing fine. But over time, muscles quietly weaken when they aren't fed what they need. 2. Healthy isn't always helpful, low-fat yogurt and granola. I remember working with a lovely woman named Teresa, age 69, who prided herself on her healthy habits. Her breakfast was always the same, low-fat fruit yogurt and granola. She thought she was making a smart choice. But when she started experiencing occasional back pain and trouble carrying groceries, we looked deeper. Low-fat yogurts often contain added sugar to make up for the missing fat. And granola? It's usually more dessert than breakfast, loaded with sweeteners and oils. Together, they give you lots of calories but not enough quality protein or fiber. Teresa's muscles weren't getting the repair nutrients they needed. We made a few swaps, and within weeks, she said lifting her shopping bags felt easier. 3. Skipping breakfast altogether. I get it. Sometimes you're just not hungry. Or you're trying to cut calories. But if you're over 60 and skipping breakfast regularly, you're not giving your body what it needs to preserve muscle mass. One of my former patients, Earl, 72, was an early riser who'd go straight from coffee to yard work, skipping breakfast entirely. He was lean and strong for his age, until, suddenly, he wasn't. He fell off a small ladder while trimming hedges. When we ran tests at the hospital, his muscle mass had dropped drastically. Earl's body didn't have the energy or building blocks it needed after a long overnight fast. His muscles weren't just tired, they were starving. Even a simple breakfast, eggs, a slice of whole grain toast, a little fruit, could have helped. Skipping breakfast after 60 is like trying to start your car without fuel. It might sputter forward, but it won't get far. 4. The coffee and a muffin routine. Let me tell you about Mary. She's 66, a retired nurse, sharp as a tack, but always on the go. Most mornings, she'd grab a muffin and coffee from the corner shop and call it breakfast. I don't have time to cook, she said. What she didn't realize is that her muscles were quietly paying the price. That muffin? Mostly refined flour and sugar. The coffee? Fine in moderation, but by itself it's dehydrating and can suppress appetite. Mary began noticing weakness in her grip when opening jars or holding her gardening tools. We ran her numbers, her muscle strength was declining faster than expected for her age. This kind of breakfast is common, especially among active retirees who don't want to slow down. But fueling your morning with sugar and caffeine is like putting fireworks in the gas tank, it burns fast and leaves nothing behind to build with. 5. Over-relying on processed meats. Sausage, bacon, ham, classic parts of the American breakfast table. But if eaten regularly, they can work against your long-term muscle health. These meats are high in saturated fats, sodium, and nitrates, which contribute to inflammation. Take Mr. Frank, a former firefighter now in his late 60s. Strong hands, booming voice, proud of his hearty breakfasts. Every morning, bacon, eggs, white toast. But over time, he started feeling stiff and sluggish. He brushed it off until one day he couldn't get up from the couch without using both arms. We talked, and when he swapped in leaner proteins and added more greens and whole grains, the stiffness eased. His strength didn't just plateau, it actually improved. The truth is, it's not just about avoiding fat or salt. It's about choosing the right kinds of fuel your muscles recognize and know how to use. Processed meats are like static on the line, they clog the system without feeding your strength. 6. Healthy cereals that aren't so healthy. Let's talk about cereal. Not the colorful kinds, that's an easy no. I'm talking about the ones that look healthy. Brown box, whole grains, maybe even say, heart healthy, on the front. I once had a patient, Gloria, 70, who ate high-fiber bran flakes every morning. It's good for my digestion, she told me. True. But that's all it was doing. The cereal had little to no protein, no healthy fats, and wasn't paired with anything substantial. Her breakfast was essentially fiber in a bowl. And while digestion matters, muscles need more than that. We added a handful of walnuts and a boiled egg to her routine. Within a month, her afternoon fatigue improved, and her physical therapist said she was making progress faster. It's not that cereal is bad. It's that it can't be the only thing. 7. The illusion of light breakfasts. Finally, we need to talk about something I call the illusion of light. These are breakfasts that seem safe, a rice cake with almond butter, or just a banana and black coffee. Minimal, right? Less to digest, less to regret. But also, less to build with. Muscle maintenance is like home repair, you need tools and materials. Light breakfasts give you almost nothing to work with. I once worked with a retired violin teacher named Helen who was trying to lose a little weight before a family reunion. Every morning, banana, coffee, maybe a rice cracker. Over time, she noticed her posture slumping, her arms tiring during short walks. That wasn't just fatigue, it was muscle loss. We added Greek yogurt, berries, and a bit of chia seed to her mornings. The transformation wasn't dramatic, but it was steady. "I can carry my grandbaby again," she said a few months later, smiling. That's the real win. After we had that long conversation about breakfast mistakes, Harold leaned back in his rocking chair, Daisy snoozing at his feet, and said, "All right then, document. If all these things I've been eating don't help, what should I be eating?" That's the heart of it, isn't it? Knowing what not to eat is just the start. The real magic, the rebuilding, happens when we begin to make small, consistent changes that support the body we have now, not the one we had 20 years ago. And for muscle health after 60, that support has to begin in the morning. But I want to be clear, this isn't about a perfect diet. It's not about eating like a professional athlete or buying exotic superfoods. It's about simple shifts, things you can find at a regular grocery store, prepare in your own kitchen, and enjoy without needing a culinary degree. Let me walk you through the kinds of breakfasts I recommend most often, and the people they've helped. 1. The 2-element fix, eggs and whole grain toast. We started simple with Harold. I suggested 2 boiled eggs and a slice of whole grain toast with a bit of avocado. No frills. No fancy powders. Just whole food, protein, and complex carbohydrates. A week later, he told me something interesting. "I don't feel full in a heavy way," he said. "But I also don't feel like I'm starving by 10 a.m. And my legs? I don't know, they just feel steadier." That's what we're aiming for, not a dramatic overnight change, but quiet, steady fuel your muscles can actually use. Eggs provide high-quality protein and healthy fats. Whole grain toast gives you long-lasting energy and a little fiber. If you're not an egg person, you can substitute cottage cheese or Greek yogurt. The key is balance, protein plus something that burns slow. 2. Greek yogurt parfait with berries and seeds. Let me tell you about Sandra, 71, who was skeptical of anything that looked too healthy. But once we made it taste like dessert, she was on board. Her new favorite breakfast? A small bowl of plain Greek yogurt, mixed with blueberries, a sprinkle of chia seeds, and a few crushed walnuts. What she liked most was how easy it was. No cooking. Just a spoon and a bowl, she laughed. And her physical therapist noticed something too, Sandra was holding her stretches longer and moving more confidently. Why does this work? Greek yogurt is packed with casein, a slow-digesting protein perfect for older adults. Berries bring antioxidants and natural sweetness. Chia seeds add omega-3s and fiber. You're feeding your muscles, calming inflammation, and avoiding the sugar crash all in one go. 3. Protein-powered oatmeal. Oatmeal by itself is fine, but it's better when it's built to nourish. Henry, 75, had a habit of eating instant oatmeal with brown sugar. We upgraded it, rolled oats cooked with almond milk, then stirred in a few spoonfuls of egg whites just before it finished cooking. Topped with chopped pecans and half a banana. "Doc," he said, "this tastes like something they'd serve at a fancy ski lodge." And more importantly, his energy during rehab improved. His therapist said he could do 2 extra sets in the gym by week 3. It wasn't magic, it was protein at breakfast, for the first time in years. You can use other add-ins too, flaxseed, almond butter, a scoop of protein powder if you want. The goal is to give oatmeal muscle repairing potential, not just warm comfort. 4. Smoothies for the skeptics. Yes, smoothies can be a trap, especially if they're all fruit and juice. But when done right, they're a powerhouse. I remember Arthur, a 68-year-old former mechanic who didn't care for anything green on his plate. His granddaughter convinced him to try a breakfast smoothie, and now he swears by it. His version: unsweetened almond milk, 1 banana, a tablespoon of peanut butter, a handful of frozen spinach, you don't even taste it, he insists, and a scoop of unflavored whey protein. He says it takes 2 minutes in the blender, keeps him full till noon, and helps him keep up with his younger brother on their morning walks. Smoothies are also great for folks with dental issues or poor appetite in the morning. Their sippable strength. 5. Warm scramble with spinach and sweet potato. Now let me introduce Rachel. She's 64, recently retired teacher, and she calls breakfast her morning therapy. For her, the act of cooking is part of the healing. Her go-to now is a scramble: 2 eggs with chopped spinach, a dash of turmeric, and small cubes of roasted sweet potato, all sautéed in olive oil. Sometimes she'll add a sprinkle of feta. It's a little warm, a little savory, and incredibly nourishing. Spinach provides magnesium and iron, both key for energy and muscle function. Sweet potatoes give fiber and vitamin C. And eggs, well, we've covered that. Rachel swears it helps her arthritis, but I suspect it's also the feeling of taking care of herself, slowing down and choosing to nourish instead of just fuel. 6. Open-faced salmon toast. Here's a fancier one, but trust me, it's not hard. Toast a slice of whole grain bread, spread a little mashed avocado, layer on smoked salmon, then top with a boiled egg and some sprouts if you have them. This is what Martha, 70, started eating after a mild stroke last year. Her daughter, a nutrition student, made it for her one morning, and she never looked back. Salmon provides omega-3s, which support brain and muscle recovery. Eggs offer protein. Avocado gives healthy fats and potassium. This kind of breakfast says, I care about my future. And it's beautiful on the plate too, which can lift your spirits just as much as your energy. 7. The full recovery bowl. For those of you doing physical therapy, recovering from injury, or trying to rebuild after illness, this is what I call the full recovery bowl. Start with oatmeal or cooked quinoa as the base. Add a scoop of quality protein powder, whey, plant-based, whatever works for you. Mix in chopped berries or half an apple, a few walnuts, and a spoonful of collagen powder. Finish with cinnamon or nutmeg for taste. This was the key for Agnes, 68, who was recovering from a hip replacement. She couldn't exercise much in the early weeks, but this breakfast gave her body the nutrients it needed to heal. Collagen supports connective tissue. Protein builds strength. The fiber keeps digestion smooth, important when you're less active. It's a breakfast built like a blueprint for repair. What ties all these breakfasts together? 3 things. They contain protein, real, absorbable, not just trace amounts. They include healthy fats and/or fiber to slow digestion and sustain energy. They're realistic. You don't need to change your entire life, just your first 15 minutes of the day. That's where strength starts, not at the gym, not with a supplement, but in your kitchen, in the quiet, humble act of choosing better fuel. I want to leave you with one more thought. A lot of my patients worry it's too late to make changes. But I've seen 80-year-olds regain confidence, independence, even posture, just by rethinking their breakfast. This isn't about perfection. It's about consistency. About showing up for yourself, one forkful at a time. If you try just one change from this list, start simple. Maybe it's swapping sugar cereal for Greek yogurt. Maybe it's adding a boiled egg. Whatever it is, make it yours. Your muscles are listening. Harold called me last week with a smile in his voice. "Doc," he said, "you were right. I didn't do anything crazy, just started eating better in the mornings. But I feel stronger. My walks are smoother, and I haven't needed that second cup of coffee just to get moving." That's the power of breakfast, not just to fill your belly, but to quietly rebuild what age tries to take away. And you don't need a complete lifestyle overhaul. The first 15 minutes of your day, the first decision you make at the fridge or pantry, can either feed your muscles or rob them of strength. There are two key things I hope you take away from this. First, your body isn't broken. Aging may change how we process food, how quickly we recover, or how strong we feel, but it doesn't mean we're helpless. Your muscles still respond. They're still listening. You just have to speak the right nutritional language. Second, the solution isn't complicated. You don't need expensive shakes or exotic powders. You just need meals that include real protein, slow-burning fuel, and simple ingredients that your body recognizes and uses well. Eggs, oats, yogurt, leafy greens, healthy fats, they're not flashy, but they're powerful. The science is clear, but more importantly, the stories are real. People like Harold, Sandra, Rachel, and Henry, each of them changed one thing at a time. And little by little, their strength, balance, and confidence came back. So tomorrow morning, pause for a moment. Ask yourself, what am I giving my body to work with today? If the answer is, not much, don't worry, you can start again, one bite at a time. I want you to picture something for a moment. It's a sunny morning. You've just had your breakfast, nothing fancy, maybe just a warm bowl of oats with berries and a boiled egg on the side. And then, without thinking, you get up from your chair, and it's easy. No hesitation, no effort. Just movement, like it used to be. That simple act, getting up without pain, walking to the door without fear of falling, lifting your grocery bags without wincing, that's what we're fighting for. If this video has helped you understand your body a little better, then let that understanding be the start of something. Don't just close the tab and forget. Take one idea, just one, from what we've shared today, and try it tomorrow morning. Maybe it's switching out your cereal. Maybe it's adding an egg. Maybe it's skipping the muffin and reaching for something that helps you build. And if you do, come back and tell me in the comments. I read them. I want to know how your body responds. Your story might just be the one that helps someone else believe change is still possible at 60, 70, even 80. And if you found this video helpful, don't keep it to yourself. Share it with someone you love, your spouse, your neighbor, your walking partner. We're in this together. Growing older doesn't mean growing weaker. It just means learning how to care a little differently, and that starts with something as small, and as powerful, as breakfast.